South Africa's financial system is a lot more sophisticated than in many first world countries. Many investors, both local and international, choose to put their money here. Is this going to carry on, considering we are suffering from a negative economic outlook? Well, I am at the JSE, so I'm going to be bringing in Valdene Reddy, Head of Equity Deliveries. Very good to have you with us.
Good morning. Thank you,
This negative economic outlook, how is it going to impact us immediately and in the long term?
So certainly, as the Johannesburg Stock Exchange, and as you mentioned, it is the precipice in terms of formally channeling money into capital markets. And we do stand as a very sophisticated market, as you mentioned, and attract the inflows of foreign and local investors. That said, we have been feeling for probably the past 18 months an impact directly into our markets through the trade activity that we've seen, as well as the issuance in primary markets in terms of a lack of appetite and confidence, business confidence. Also, specific share price movements and some of the activity has affected the man on the street, as you've mentioned, with a number of corporate governance issues that have potentially put a cloud on the market.
So and sorry, when the numbers diminish, it pulls down pension funds, for an example.
Yes.
So the impact is immediate.
It is immediate. So while we have a sophisticated market in that it comes through an institutional client, South Africa grew up as a collective investment schemes market. So typically the savings and the pension funds of the man on the street are invested at the JSE. So it has been difficult markets in terms of generating a yield, as well as maintaining and attracting flow in South Africa. But that said, we do fare very strong compared to other emerging markets. We do have a corporate structure in South Africa and formal capital markets that bode well compared to global norms and standards. So
sorry, I mean, this is what people question. I mean, are the right structures in place? I mean, a lot of the companies on the market here are not doing what they should be doing. They're not putting back. The social conscience isn't really there.
Yes.
How do we make that happen?
So through the JSE, we formally orchestrated through product and work very closely with many stakeholders in the community to ensure that our product is very conscientious and reflects the state of the nation and in terms of what we need to do to help grow and foster the economy. We have a dedicated sustainability area, and a lot of focus is given to CSI and ESG, and we develop product as such. We have a ESG index that we run through FTSE, facilitated at the JSE, as well as a futures product that we've created and listed so that people can invest responsibly and have a transparent mechanism to invest.
Because that is what alienates people a lot here. I mean, even when you're talking there, I mean, those are names and figures and facts that befuddle people. So often you can't access this market because the knowledge is not there. I mean, how do you make it more accessible so that everyone can get involved and enjoy the benefits when there are benefits?
Yes. So certainly through awareness, in terms of promoting our markets, establishing a strong security net in terms of saying this is the place you want to put your money, and creating the ability for people to channel their money into formal capital markets. It actually may not be that easy for the man on the street to proactively channel his money into the market. However, as we mentioned, through pension funds, saving schemes, through a very robust investor community of our buy-side asset managers, they take the responsibility of investing people's money on exchange.
Okay, so here we are today. We know it's bad. The president, and we're going to listen to him saying it, says that we are in a crisis. How do we get out of this crisis? What role can the market play here?
Certainly a collaborative role. The JSE works very closely with the top issuers in our market and stays abreast with them in terms of saying how can we channel money or channel investment into South Africa. We also partner in terms of promoting our country, of ensuring that through the foreign investors who actually invest in our market have a certain assurance in terms of, yes, there is upside, there is potential in this country, there is good governance, there is stability. And while the environment, the macro environment right now seems very difficult, as you mentioned, our president says we are in a crisis, you certainly feel it. So it's up to us as a collective, whoever are involved in formal capital markets, to ensure that we are laying down the foundation to have a strong, robust, stable environment, that we can provide liquidity in our markets to attract flow from a primary markets issuance point of view and from a product point of view, that we are rolling out products such as green bonds, project bonds, working to look to a framework of social impact bonds to help have an attractive product on our capital markets to attract the inflows of capital
and obviously
investment.
if we can wipe out that debt, the Eskom debt,
Yes.
you know, as I said, it's equivalent of our Brexit, but if we could do that and make it an active market player, I mean, that would make a massive difference, wouldn't it?
So the conundrum of Eskom and the debt that it holds, and in terms of what the state-owned enterprises will look like, has been topical for many months, and we see them in the news all the time, including this week when they reported their results. It is a difficult one to crack. You know, it's a necessary utility for the crux of our economy, but in terms of formal capital markets and how it's supported, that is yet to be untapped in terms of something very clear.
Okay, so and tell us briefly, where is the light here? Is there a light, and what can we grasp onto as we move through this hour?
There certainly is a light, and you alluded to that when you started the interview, saying South Africa fares as one of the best emerging markets, but on a developed market playing field. So the light is that as a corporate South Africa, we can continue to work together to ensure that we are quite deliberate in the product and the investments we make, that we work collaboratively to grow our economy, and to also act in uprightness and in terms of good governance, to work together, to stand accountable in how we create product, how we channel flows into our market, and how we manage and roll out money in South Africa.
Okay, well, that sounds good. We're certainly going to be keeping our eye on you here and the big boys and girls and the big players here and seeing if they are working with social upliftment.